October 2nd, 1944. Vosges Mountains, France. 7:12 a.m. The fog sits low between the trees. Cold. Thick. Silent. Boots press into damp earth as American infantry move carefully through the forest. Branches snap under weight. Gear shifts with each step. No one speaks. Because the silence feels wrong. Ahead, the path disappears into white mist. Behind them, the sound of the main line has faded. Private First Class Harold Bennett glances over his shoulder. Nothing. No artillery. No engines. No voices. Just forest. You can almost feel it. That moment when something doesn't make sense. But no one says it out loud. The battalion keeps moving. Orders are clear. Advance forward. Maintain pressure. Support neighboring units. Everything depends on coordination. Because they're not alone. Not supposed to be. On their left, another American unit is advancing. On their right, more friendly positions. At least, that's what the map says. Captain Charles Whittlesey walks near the front, eyes scanning the terrain. Calm. Focused. He trusts the plan. Because the plan is everything. The forest thickens. Visibility drops even further. The fog doesn't lift. It closes. Men begin to bunch closer together, instinctively. Because distance now feels dangerous. A rifle cracks in the distance. Everyone stops. Listens. Nothing follows. No return fire. No movement. Just silence again. The kind that feels heavier than noise. Keep moving. The order comes. And they do. Because stopping isn't part of the plan. They move deeper. Further than expected. Further than comfortable. And slowly, something changes. The feeling. The connection to everything behind them begins to fade. Not physically. Mentally. Because the further they go, the less they hear. The less they feel supported. The less certain they become. A runner moves up from the rear. Breathing hard. Sir, we haven't heard from the left flank in a while. Captain Whittlesey nods slightly. Probably just the terrain. Logical. The forest can do that. Block sound. Disrupt communication. But still, something feels off. They keep advancing. Step by step. And then, another shot. Closer this time. Followed by two more. Then silence. Again. A soldier whispers, barely audible. Where is everyone? No answer. Because no one knows. The battalion halts briefly. Officers gather. Quick discussion. Maps are checked. Positions estimated. Everything looks correct. On paper. But the battlefield is not paper. The order comes again. Continue forward. And with that, they step deeper into the forest. Unaware that something behind them has already changed. Because while they were moving forward, the lines around them were shifting. Units pulling back. Positions collapsing. Gaps forming. And those gaps are closing. Not around the enemy. Around them. By the time the battalion realizes it, they are no longer advancing with support. They are advancing alone. And somewhere in the trees, eyes are already watching them. Waiting. Because the moment they've stepped into is not an advance. It's an encirclement. And it has already begun. October 2nd, 1944. Vosges Mountains, France. 11:38 a.m. The forest doesn't change. But the feeling does. The battalion has stopped moving. Not by order. By instinct. Something isn't right. Captain Charles Whittlesey studies the map again, then looks up at the tree line. Nothing moves. No friendly signals. No distant movement. Just silence. A runner arrives from the rear, breathing hard. Face tense. Sir, We can't reach the units behind us. Whittlesey doesn't react immediately. How long? Over an hour. That's too long. Another soldier approaches. Left flank hasn't reported either. Now the pattern forms. No contact behind. No contact to the side. And ahead. Unknown. Whittlesey turns slowly, scanning the forest. You can almost feel it. That exact second when uncertainty becomes realization. We're alone. The words aren't loud. But they land heavily. Around him, officers exchange glances. Because they understand what that means. This isn't just lost communication. This is isolation. Complete. The battalion has advanced beyond support. And the line behind them is no longer holding. Which means they are inside enemy territory. Deep inside. And possibly surrounded. Almost as if in response, a shot cracks through the trees. Closer this time. A soldier drops instantly. No warning. No visible shooter. Just impact. Contact front. Men move quickly into position. Rifles raised. Eyes searching. But the forest hides everything. Another shot. Then two more. From a different direction. Contact right. Now it's clear. The fire isn't random. It's coordinated. And it's coming from multiple sides. The battalion spreads out, forming defensive positions. Not advancing anymore. Holding. Because movement now is dangerous. A machine gun opens fire from somewhere ahead. Bullets tear through branches. Strike tree trunks. Men drop to the ground. Return fire immediately. But they're shooting into uncertainty. Targets they can't fully see. Enemy positions hidden in terrain they don't know. Within minutes, the situation escalates. More fire. From more directions. The circle begins to close. And now, there is no doubt. They are surrounded. A soldier crawls toward Whittlesey. Sir, they're behind us too. Whittlesey nods once. No panic. Just acceptance. Because this changes everything. No retreat. No reinforcement. No clear direction. Only one option remains. Hold. The order spreads quickly. Dig in. Men begin preparing defensive positions. Using whatever cover they can find. Fallen logs. Tree roots. Shallow depressions in the ground. This is not a planned defense. This is survival. A perimeter forms. Rough. Imperfect. But necessary. Because the enemy is testing it. Probing. Looking for weakness. A German voice calls out from the trees. In English. You are surrounded. No one responds. Because they already know. The voice continues. Lay down your weapons, you have no chance. Silence from the American line. Then, a rifle fires. Not in response. In defiance. Because surrender is not being considered. Not yet. The enemy fire resumes. Stronger now. More confident. Because they know the situation. They know the Americans are cut off. And time is on their side. Inside the perimeter, Whittlesey moves between positions. Checking. Reassuring. His presence matters now. Because leadership is the only structure left. A soldier looks up at him. Sir, do they know we're here? Whittlesey pauses. Then answers simply. They will. But the truth is uncertain. Because communication is gone. And the forest has swallowed them. As the firing slows for a moment, a strange quiet returns. But this quiet is different. It's not empty. It's waiting. Because both sides understand something now. This is no longer a movement. This is a siege. And it has just begun. October 3rd, 1944. Vosges Mountains. 6:20 m. Morning arrives without relief. No reinforcements. No movement in the distance. No sign that anyone is coming. Only the same forest. And the same perimeter. Private Harold Bennett lifts his head slowly from the ground. His uniform is damp. Cold has settled into everything. He hasn't slept. Not really. Just moments between alertness. Because every sound matters now. A branch snapping. A leaf shifting. Anything could mean movement. Anything could mean attack. Across the line, soldiers check their weapons. Count ammunition. Not casually. Carefully. Because now, every bullet matters. Food is distributed. Or what's left of it. Small portions. Barely enough. Water is worse. Canteens are already low. Some are empty. And there is no resupply. No way to bring anything in. Because the battalion is completely cut off. A runner approaches Captain Charles Whittlesey. "Sir, we're almost out of rations." Whittlesey nods. No visible reaction. But the weight of it settles immediately. Because this isn't just a battle anymore. It's time. How long they can hold. How long they can survive. Enemy fire resumes mid-morning. Short bursts. Controlled. Not meant to overwhelm. Meant to pressure. To remind that they are still surrounded. A machine gun opens up briefly on the eastern edge. American soldiers respond quickly. Not aggressively. Precisely. Because wasting ammunition is not an option. Each shot is deliberate. Measured. The enemy pulls back again. Not retreating. Testing. Watching. Waiting. Inside the perimeter, conditions worsen. Wounded soldiers lie in shallow cover. Some treated. Others waiting. Because medical supplies are limited. Bandages reused. Water rationed even for the injured. A medic presses cloth against a wound, trying to stop bleeding. There's no morphine left. Only pressure. And hope. Nearby, 2 soldiers share the last drops from a canteen. Not speaking. Because there's nothing to say. The reality is clear. They are running out of everything. Food. Water. Medicine. Time. By afternoon, another problem emerges. Friendly artillery. Or what should be friendly. Shells begin landing dangerously close. Too close. A soldier looks up. Confused. They think we're further ahead. The realization spreads quickly. Their own forces don't know their exact position. Which means even help is dangerous. Whittlesey grabs a radio operator. Try again. Get a message out. The operator adjusts the set. Taps the receiver. Static. Then a weak signal. He transmits coordinates. Repeats them. Again. Again. Hoping someone hears. Hoping it reaches the right place. Because this might be their only chance. But there's no confirmation. No reply. Just silence. Even communication is uncertain. Even that is fragile. As evening approaches, the forest darkens again. Visibility drops. Tension rises. Because night changes everything. It gives cover. To both sides. A soldier whispers into the darkness. How long can we hold? No one answers. Because the answer isn't clear. But one thing is, they are not being attacked all at once. Not overwhelmed. Because the enemy doesn't need to rush. They have time. They have supply. They have control of the ground around them. Which means this is not a battle of force. It's a battle of endurance. And endurance favors the side that isn't trapped. Night falls completely. The forest becomes silent again. But this silence is different. It's heavier. Because now, every man knows something. They are not waiting for victory. They are waiting to see how long they can last. And somewhere beyond the trees, the outside world continues moving, unaware of how close this battalion is to disappearing completely. October 4th, 1944, Vosges Mountains. 1:17 p.m. The artillery begins without warning. A deep, rolling thunder echoes through the trees. Then impact. Shells slam into the forest just beyond the American perimeter. Explosions tear through branches, sending splinters and debris into the air. For a moment, no one reacts, because it sounds like help, friendly artillery. But then, another shell lands. Closer. Too close. A blast throws dirt across the defensive line. A soldier is knocked backward. Another cries out. Confusion spreads instantly. Those are ours. The realization hits like the explosion itself. Their own artillery is firing on them, because somewhere beyond the forest, their position is not clear. And now, they are in the wrong place on someone else's map. Captain Charles Whittlesey moves quickly toward the radio operator. Get them on the line. Now, the operator adjusts the frequency, hands shaking slightly. Static. Then, a weak connection. He transmits coordinates again. Clearer this time. More urgent. Friendly troops in this sector. Repeat, friendly troops in this sector. Another shell lands nearby. Closer still. There's no time. Whittlesey grabs a pencil. Writes quickly on a small piece of paper. Short. Direct. Then hands it to a soldier. Get this out. The soldier nods, understanding immediately. Because the radio may not be enough. They need something else. A messenger. A runner. Or a pigeon. From a small wooden crate, a carrier pigeon is removed carefully. Its wings twitch slightly, unaware of what it's about to carry. The message is attached. And then, released, it launches upward, cutting through the smoke-filled air. For a moment, everyone watches. Because everything depends on this. The pigeon climbs, higher, then disappears into the sky. Behind it, another shell lands. The bombardment continues. Men press into the ground, trying to stay low, trying to survive. Minutes pass, each one heavy. Because no one knows if the message will make it, if the pigeon will reach its destination, if anyone will understand, or if the shells will keep falling. Then, the artillery slows. One shell, then silence. The bombardment stops, not gradually, suddenly. And in that silence, realization spreads. The message got through. Somewhere, someone received it. And they understood. The line exhales. Not in relief, but in survival. Because they were seconds away from being destroyed by their own side. But the message did more than stop the artillery. It confirmed something critical. They are not forgotten. They are not invisible. Someone is listening. And that changes everything. Because now, there is a chance. A small one, but real. Inside the perimeter, soldiers shift slightly. Not relaxing, but recalibrating. Because hope has returned. And hope changes how long a man can endure. But the situation itself hasn't improved. They are still surrounded, still low on supplies, still under pressure. The enemy fire resumes by evening. Testing again. But something feels different now, because the Americans are no longer just holding. They are waiting. For something. For someone. For a breakthrough that may or may not come. And somewhere beyond the forest, movement has already begun. October 7th, 1944. Vosges Mountains. 3:42 p.m. The sound reaches them first. Distant. Low. Not gunfire. Movement. A different kind of rhythm. Inside the perimeter, soldiers lift their heads slightly. Listen. For days, every sound has meant danger. But this feels different. Private Harold Bennett tightens his grip on his rifle. Do you hear that? No one answers. Because everyone hears it. And no one wants to say it out loud. Not yet, because hope can be dangerous. Across the line, Captain Charles Whittlesey stands still for a moment, listening. Then, a burst of gunfire echoes from the distance. Closer. Then another. And another. Not random. Advancing. The pattern becomes clear. Someone is fighting their way toward them. The rescue has begun. But the battalion doesn't move. They can't. Because movement breaks the perimeter. And the perimeter is the only thing keeping them alive. Instead, they prepare. Because if help is coming, the enemy will react. And they do. Almost immediately. German fire intensifies. More aggressive now. More urgent. Because they hear it too. And they know what it means. The window is closing. Inside the perimeter, ammunition is nearly gone. Every shot is counted. Some soldiers have only a handful of rounds left. Others, less. A medic moves between the wounded. There is nothing left to give. No bandages. No water. Only presence. Only the attempt to keep them conscious. Because evacuation is not possible yet. The sound grows louder. Closer. Gunfire overlapping now. 2 battles happening at once. One pushing inward. One holding the line. The air fills with tension. Because this is the moment. The final phase. Either the line breaks, or the rescue arrives. A soldier at the edge of the perimeter leans forward slightly, trying to see through the trees. Then, movement. Figures. Running. Not toward them. Toward the enemy. American uniforms. For a second, no one reacts. Because it doesn't feel real. Then someone shouts, "They're here." And just like that, everything shifts. The pressure changes direction. German fire falters. Positions begin to collapse. Because now, they are no longer fighting an isolated unit. They are caught between 2 forces. Inside the perimeter, soldiers begin firing again. Not holding anymore. Pushing outward. Because now, they are part of the attack. The line breaks. Not all at once. But enough. Enough for movement. Enough for connection. The first rescuing soldiers reach the perimeter, faces covered in dirt. Eyes wide. They look at the men inside. And stop. Because what they see is not what they expected. These are not fresh troops. These are survivors. Exhausted. Dehydrated. Barely holding on. A soldier drops to one knee, handing over a canteen. Another offers food. No words. Because none are needed. The connection is made. After days of isolation, they are no longer alone. The battalion has held. Not because they were stronger, not because they had more resources, but because they refused to break. Even when everything around them suggested they should. As the wounded begin to move out, as supplies begin to come in, the forest slowly returns to something quieter. Not peaceful, but stable. The siege is over, but the cost remains. Because not everyone made it. And those who did, carry something with them. Something heavier than equipment. The memory of days spent surrounded. Days where survival was uncertain. Days where the only thing that kept them alive was the decision to keep holding. And that decision changed everything.